What's up, everybody? It's Pac-Man from Drunk Monkey Garage. We're back with the mailbox project that we're doing as a test panel for the 2018 Street Glide. What I did off camera, if you remember last time, the crystal didn't turn out real well, so I sanded that off and got us back to the metal flake silver. What I did off camera was I put 3 more coats of the coarse silver from Limeline on there. Put 3 more coats of metal flake, and this time I've got 2 sizes of metal flake in there. I've got the 0.008 and the 0.002. I think that'll give it a little more depth, and that did turn out really nice. It's nice and sparkly. I think that'll give us a good base for our crystal. After that, I put down 3 more coats of lockdown clear, just to protect everything. That way, if we have to go back to this again, it's protected and we can get back there with no problem. Today, I sanded it smooth after the clear was cured. We have no more ridges where the mailbox had these ridges that were built into it. So we got rid of those. It's nice and smooth. The crystal should flow out really well over this. We're going to try a few more different things. I'm going to set this mailbox in a different orientation so that the crystal fluid will flow over it better. We taped the graphics back off and made a new batch of the crystal solution. Jeremy Diamond from Diamond Custom Paints left a comment in one of my videos where we were talking about the humidity level. He had an idea of putting a humidifier in his paint booth at the time that he's applying the crystal solution. So I'm going to try that. I've got a heater in there and a humidifier. We're going to try to get that humidity level and heat up and get the biggest crystals that we can. So that's enough talking for now. Let's get in the booth and try to make some crystals. So I'm in the booth. We have about 71 degrees and 44% humidity. We started out at 62 degrees and about 31% humidity. So the humidity is going up. I've got my baseboard heater in here and the little humidifier. The baseboard heater is electric, so it's kind of drying the air out. So I'm having to alternate between the heater and the humidifier. But we're going to try to get this up a little bit higher. I've got the mailbox sitting on a stand so that it's at an angle. So hopefully this will let that urea mixture flow better. That crystal solution needs to flow evenly over the whole thing to get the good crystals that we're looking for. Got a new batch of crystal solution mixed up. I'm gonna go get a clean microfiber cloth and we'll pour the crystal solution into the bucket and start wiping here pretty soon. So let's let that humidity get up a little bit higher and we'll get started. See you in a few minutes. So it's been about an hour and we were able to get the temperature up to 74.3 and we were able to get the humidity up to 68%, but getting the heat up to 74 degrees dropped the humidity level down. Kept the humidifier going the whole time, but I've had to alternate the heat off and on to try to get us up to a decent temperature with a high enough humidity level. So once we hit about 63 to 65% humidity, we're going to go ahead and lay down the crystal. So we've got our temperature stabilized at about 74.8 degrees, and our humidity is fluctuating between 60 and 63. So we're going to go ahead and lay down our crystal mixture. This is the same 1-to-1 ratio crystal solution that I made up in my previous video. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out in our playlist below. So we're just going to dump this in. I've got a clean microfiber cloth in there. I did mix this up yesterday, so I made sure I shook it up really well. There's no crystals formed in it yet, so should be good to go. Now we are going to wipe on our crystal mixture onto our mailbox. What I did was I covered the floor with just a plastic tablecloth from the dollar store, and I covered the lid with some plastic and tape. That way we don't get crystals where we don't want them. So I'm just going to saturate this rag, and I'm going to leave it pretty wet and just wipe down on the mailbox. And hopefully this angle will give us a better flow of the crystal solution. This will get messy if you don't take precautions and cover anything you don't want covered with crystals. We're going to do one more swipe here. Get this nice and wet. We're going to kind of wipe off the tape so we don't get any runs off of the tape onto our design. Okay, I'm going to zoom you in and put it on time lapse and let you guys watch the crystal magic. All right, so our crystal's dry. We're gonna go over it with some, I've got the gun loaded up with my Limeline base coat black. I do have a fast reducer in here because we want this to dry quickly. I'm gonna set my fan to wide open. I'm gonna set my fluid to 3/4 out. I just want a very minimal amount of paint coming out of this, and I want it to land pretty dry. So I'm going to crank my air pressure up. Very light, dry coats so that we don't disturb the crystal formation. brought this out in the sun so we can see this process a little bit better. Being very gentle with this Scotch-Brite because this paint is fresh. It's coming off really easily. So far, I think we're looking pretty good. Much better than the last time. Water on this. I'm hardly putting any pressure on this. Just letting the Scotch-Brite glide across the surface. And with the water, it's taking the crystals off rather easily. Kind of want to pinpoint down in here next to this tape line. Make sure we get all those crystals off. What I'm going to do now is just wipe this down with some water and a clean microfiber cloth just to get the residue off. Make sure that doesn't dry on there. In my opinion, I think these crystals turned out a lot better than the last ones. We're going to let this dry for a little bit. Maybe a half hour sitting out in the sun just to get all the residual moisture off of the tape and stuff. Then we will load up our candy green and wipe this down one more time with some glass cleaner. Get that candy sprayed over the crystals. So we've given our crystal time to dry. The black paint is dry. We let all the tape dry out so there's no residual crystals on that to get into the paint. I've got my Limelight candy green mixed up. This is going to replicate the green apple Jolly Rancher. So we're gonna get this, we're gonna spray this down in light coats as well. I'm gonna turn my needle out 1.5 turns. Fans open all the way, and my air pressure is set to about 28. What I want to do is cover the front with just a solid candy green, and then we'll work our way back and cover the crystal pattern with the candy green also. We want to keep these coats nice and light. That way they don't bridge over the tape. So when we peel the tape, it doesn't peel up the paint with it. So we've given our candy greens some time to dry. We're going to start unmasking this and see what we've got. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the crystal solution did bleed under the tape a little bit. I think it probably soaked through the tape. If that's okay, we can take some glass cleaner and clean that off before we clear coat it, and it'll be fine. And there we have it. This mailbox is ready for clear. So the mailbox is at a point now where it's ready for the final coats of clear. After that, we'll cut and buff it and it'll be done. I'm going to mix up some clear, get suited up, and head back into the booth. Once we get the clear down, I'll take it out in the sunlight and let you guys see what it looks like. So there we are, guys. The main part of this mailbox is done. I love the way it turned out. That's exactly what I was looking for the street glide behind me. We may do a couple of follow-up videos. I may do a water transfer decal on the back with our logo on it. And I've got to put the numbers on the side of it. So I may make a stencil with my Cricut and airbrush that in. Other than that, once this is cured, I'm going to have to sand out a few little dust nibs. That's going to happen in a paint booth like this. But other than that, she's done. I want to thank Adam Paul over at Limeline Paint Supply. He's got some great products. I use those on this project. I want to thank American Dream Custom Paints. They make an excellent gun. I use the Beast with a 1.3 tip for the clear. And for just about everything else, except for the metal flake, I used the Little Beast with a 0.8 tip, mainly for the base coats and the candy and all that stuff. They're great guns. They spray well, and they clean up easy. I want to thank you guys for following along. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications of future videos. Till next time, cheers.